on paper, my life was everything that the world says is elite and successful. It's like I wasn't necessarily the one doing porn, but I was making money off the people that were doing it.
You are listening to the Under the Rug podcast with Nalini Tranquim.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Under the Rug, where we dig deep into the issues often left lurking in the shadows. I am your host, Nalini Tranquim. Today, we are joined by Victoria Sinis, founder of Creating Gems and a passionate advocate for ending online sexual exploitation. Victoria's journey from struggling with addiction and depression to becoming a successful businesswoman, then working within and ultimately leaving the world of OnlyFans, has given her a unique perspective on the challenges facing teens and young adults today. She's here to share insights on how social media is shaping our culture, how young girls are targeted, and what we as a community of parents, pastors, teachers, and leaders can do to change the narrative. So are you ready? Okay, let's dive deep. Victoria, it is an absolute honor to have you with us. Welcome to Under the Rug.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you.
What initially drew you into the world of business and marketing?
I always would say that, like, if I was ever famous, I wanted to be famous for like my brain, for my success. And like, so I didn't feel that I would ever matter until I was a baller, until I had this crazy business. I just wanted to create something because I felt like nothing. And so I felt that if I could do something, if I could make something that maybe my life would mean something, maybe I would have a legacy, maybe there would be more to this feeling of nothingness and mundaneness.
Okay, so can you talk about your involvement in marketing for OnlyFans?
I was working in startups, in business, in sales, all of the different things. I was helping one of my best friends build her hospitality businesses, and that was wild. That was like 100-hour work weeks. It was full on, yeah. And on your feet, we were building restaurants, we were managing restaurants, like it was full on. So I went overseas for a month. I went to Europe because I was like, I need a break. And then when I came back, I had another close personal friend of mine say that when I was in Europe, they had actually decided to start an OnlyFans agency. And so the reason they had started the OnlyFans agency is because a close personal friend in their world was doing OnlyFans already and quite successful in it.
Right.
And they were complaining about their agency, feeling like their agency was ruining their account, all these things. So my close personal friend of mine was like, well, I have a great educational background. We already know people in the industry. Let's get Vic involved. She does business, startups, marketing. She knows all of that world. So this could be a great opportunity to build a really strong business. So the lens that I came through was not really knowing what OnlyFans was. I feel that it's just this term that's been interjected into our culture, and like everyone's heard of OnlyFans, but we don't really know what it is. So I was like, oh, I think that like you can get really rich. Like, I think that you can make a lot of money just selling your feet. Like, I think this is women's liberation. Like, I think this is a positive. And again, I love business. I love creating. I love the adventure of it. So I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? I get to work with more of my friends doing cool things. And so that's how I kind of fell into it.
Can you give a little bit of insight into how this world OnlyFans works and why it's so enticing for young women?
Yeah. So one of my roles and responsibilities working at the agency was my job was to make girls go as viral as possible, as quickly as possible. And this will all make sense. And so what we had done is we had actually hired a expert that studies algorithms. And so every single day, this person was sending us trending skits, trending like sounds, trending songs, hashtags, captions, everything you can think of. And the girls who worked at the agency, their requirement was to have at least 3 to 5 TikTok accounts. And on these TikTok accounts, they needed to be posting at least, we would ask, 5 original videos per account. So that's potentially 20 videos every single day of very specific, curated, provocative content.
Sure.
And so just for teenagers, basically, like just to simplify what I just said, we were asking girls to post 20 TikToks every day of super sexual stuff that would go viral. And so what that does, we had one girl doing our method for 7 days, and she got 2.2 million views on one of her TikToks. So you can see the caliber of what's actually happening on social media. So this is one agency in Australia that's making these girls go viral. Imagine how many agencies exist globally, how many girls are doing this. So you can see that social media is inundated with very sexual content that's getting rewarded. And so what does that do for young girls?
Yeah.
Well, they jump on TikTok and they see that this girl who's posting in her little outfit, doing whatever, has millions of views, hundreds and thousands of likes, all these comments. So she goes, oh, well, to be liked and rewarded and loved in my society, I therefore have to act like this. Duh, because look at what's being rewarded. That's what she's being softly influenced to think. And young boys, or just men in general, are going, this is what our culture is rewarding, these over-sexualized women, because we see it again through the likes and the followers and all of the things. So therefore, this is what I must desire in a woman, because they're being softly influenced. So you're coming on to TikTok, you're coming on to Instagram, whatever, and you're being inundated with this type of content that, again, is manipulated by the porn industry to go viral. Of course, you're going to think that way. Of course, you're then going to put your value and your worth in how hot can I be on social media so then I get rewarded. And so I think that that's one of the biggest things that I like to just really educate people to understand, that you're being softly influenced on social media on a mass scale to think that this is okay. And so hopefully now that you know that, you can identify that. And like, you look at people like Anna Paul's massive, and her demographic is teenage girls, and she's one of our biggest OnlyFans girls. People love her, but she's so specific and curated in the way that she does things, the way that she talks, the outfits she wears, all the things that she does is to look like a teenage girl. And it entices teenage girls to want to be like her. And then like it entices men to sexualize young girls, but then also men to want that type of girl. Like, do you understand? Yeah. And then it's just a flow on and a flow on and a flow on. And so that's why we need to really be able to identify what's actually happening on social media, who we're following, who our influencers are.
Yes, come on.
But then we can identify these things and go, hold on, wait a minute. I know what's going on there. And then hopefully you don't get sucked in to seeing these girls that have all these likes and followers, and then you feel horrible in yourself. So then you think you then have to do that. Yeah.
From your perspective, what's important for people to understand about how young women, especially teens, are targeted and recruited?
I think that the biggest thing you have to understand is that it's real and it's intentional and it works. And so a lot of people don't want to accept that. On porn, the top 3 categories, I think they've changed now, but I could be wrong. But they were fresh teen, and barely legal. And it's like, so why is that working? And then we've also seen that there's a recent 2 porn influencers, Annie Knight and Bonnie Blue. And they go to schoolies and they promote having sex with barely legal boys and putting it on their OnlyFans. So the sexualization of teenagers and our youth is what makes the most money in the porn industry. And so that leads into a whole nother topic of child pornography. I saw a statistic that 33% of all porn on the internet is child pornography. And so we're seeing that it's the sexualization of our children. And this is what makes the most money and it's the most searched. And so of course then you're going to have recruiters looking for girls that look young. And so that's what we would do at the agency. We've realized that that's what makes the most money. And one of the girls we had at the agency, we would lie and say that she was fresh 18. And that's what made the most money. So then we would scour the internet and we would look for girls that were already posting provocative content. And then from there, we would like directly message them and basically be like, hey, we love your vibe. We love how you look. Do you have an OnlyFans, or have you ever considered OnlyFans? And have you considered management or whatever it was? So then we could recruit them either to our agency or actually just recruit them onto the platform. So literally getting these girls to do porn. And so you can see how from such a young age, you're being softly groomed into this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then just another argument that I hear is, oh, OnlyFans doesn't allow under 18-year-olds. Like, but I've seen the back end platform. There is no way if I was 17 or 16 that I can steal an ID, I can do all these things. It's not hard to sign up. And it's not like OnlyFans AI has the technology to scan a human and then date how old they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So OnlyFans actually has no idea of the age of the girl that's doing the porn on OnlyFans because the age verification process is not really a thing. I just like to emphasize that to people of like, that's a common argument I hear as well. Well, OnlyFans doesn't allow under 18s. Well, it's happening. And young girls are getting targeted. So it's just, again, like another thing to consider.
And our young girls are being enticed, what, with the fame and the money?
Yeah, totally. And like, I actually saw, it's so interesting, like to talk about that, like coming from someone who, again, on paper was like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. And like all the things, and even being around, I guess you could say, famous people.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times someone has to go through this cycle and come out the other end for people to understand that it's not it and it's not worth it. Like, when is it going to get into humans' brains?
Yeah.
That it's like because so many people tell you this, but yet we keep doing it. It's not it. It's not worth it. Even now, I go like viral every now and then for talking about what I talk about. And I'm deeply passionate about what I do and I love it. But it does nothing for me to be viral, to be famous, to be recognized. It does nothing for the ego or that purpose I have in me. If I get like 1,000 views on a TikTok or I get 300,000, it doesn't fill anything. And this is what we have to talk about, is that fame and money fills nothing. Even as a Christian, like it's the most void thing.
Yes.
That you can, and like, it's just a bizarre thing that I'm just like, I don't know, processing myself of how many more people have to go through the lifestyle for people to understand that it's not it. Like, when will we actually start to listen and like get it through our heads without having to make those mistakes ourselves, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like Satan himself is capitalizing on humans' innate desire to be seen.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have put it better. Yeah.
Oh, it's just so demonic.
Yeah. It is. I shouldn't laugh, but like it is. And like that's the beautiful thing though of it. That's also why I love social media. I love social media because as much as we're talking about the darkness, we as Christians have the capacity and the authority to bring lightness. We can actually take
100%.
ground
Yeah.
for the kingdom on social media because that's also a battlefield. It's not just in the physical, because digital is more influential now than the physical.
100%.
So I love that we also can talk about the glory of God, that we can talk about the transformative power of Jesus on social media and actually change people's lives for the better.
Yes.
On social media,
Yes.
as much as we're talking about the darkness.
Yes, absolutely.
We still have capacity to be able to bring light in these places.
Yeah, come on. What role do influencers like Anna Paul, who has a large following among teenage girls, play in normalizing or promoting platforms like OnlyFans?
A massive role. Like, I remember I was at a school at the start of the year, year 9 girls, and I'd spoken to them, obviously, like my story and everything like that. And after it, they'd asked me, these 2 girls, do you know who Anna Paul is? And I was like, I don't know her personally. I just know her through TikTok. I'm assuming you do as well. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, cool. I was like, so what is it that you like about her TikToks? And they go, well, she seems happy and she can travel. And I was like, so do you think you have to do OnlyFans to be happy and travel? And they're like, well, yes. So a big argument I hear is, well, she's not promoting her OnlyFans. She's not, but it's like, yes, she is. She's not going to sit there and like get her phone out and go, hey, teenage girls, if you want to have a life like me, you should do OnlyFans. No, the devil is sneaky and cunning. He's going to show this lifestyle. He's going to show this eliteness, this happiness, this purpose. But we all know where that came from, and it came from doing porn. So of course, people are now going to attribute this lifestyle. Well, therefore, I have to do porn. Where before, I think it's interesting. I feel like Playboy kind of made this a thing, but Playboy still was almost a little bit taboo in to achieve dream, success, eliteness, all the luxurious things. Basically, just be this hot little bunny and like hang out in this house. And it started to normalize porn and normalize this over sexualization, but it was still a little bit taboo. But I really feel like OnlyFans is now that next era in like, hey, do you want your business to succeed? Do you want to become more famous? Do you want to be more influential? Well, do you know how you do it? Do porn. It's like flipped. You know what I mean? It's like it's a means to an ends now, where before it was more so like the desperate.
Yes, it absolutely makes sense. I think this actually leads into what was the turning point for you then, where you went, I can't do this, I can't be a part of this, I've got to get out.
Yeah. So what had happened for me, as I said, I was doing more of the marketing and so like the social media side of things. And when we had changed the structure of the business, so one of the big allures of OnlyFans and why it's so successful compared to like traditional online porn is that you actually think that you're having a relationship with the girl. So you think that you're talking to the OnlyFans star. Um, and so if you think about that, imagine if you have like 5,000 subscribers on your OnlyFans platform. You can't facilitate conversations with 5,000 people all the time.
Wow.
So that's why an OnlyFans agency exists. It's to offset that. So an OnlyFans agency will actually pretend to be you on your behalf to make money on your account. So what you do is you hire these things called chatters, and chatters are traditionally people from third world countries, so mainly the Philippines. And ours were from the Philippines. And basically, they're paid to pretend to be these OnlyFans girls and make money off them. And so, all of that to say, that's called account management. So, managing the account. I was doing all the marketing. Now, we were realizing that if you have a subscriber who's talking to a girl on OnlyFans, but then on social media, there's a disconnect there because I'm running all the social media, someone else is running all the OnlyFans. So what we did is we went, okay, let's split the girls in half and then we'll run the full life cycle. So you do less girls, but you do their OnlyFans and their social media.
Right.
And so that's when I started to actually see everything. And so I've never been a consumer of porn. I've never been one to like watch porn. So I'm seeing porn basically for the first time, and it's people that I know. And like it's just and then it's weird because you commodify these women. You're told this is liberating. The people that I worked with are like, this is a positive. Like, someone told me that it's like a safe injecting heroin room. People need a safe place to do drugs. We give people a safe place to do porn. Like, so you're so conflicted because you feel that this is wrong, but the world is telling you that it's not. Um, and so for me, what had happened was that I'm now working in this role. I'm seeing all of the things. I'm getting upset every day. I can't open up my laptop. I'm crying. I'm so just like overwhelmed. And so I had a genius idea. And I was like, you know what? Let's offset all the bad that I'm doing and let's go help a bunch of refugees. I was like, if I go help refugees, it'll make me feel better about myself.
Yeah.
Um, and I was also building a medicinal cannabis company at the time. So where I was like, okay, cool. If I go help a bunch of refugees, by the time I come back, the cannabis company will be up and running and I don't have to work at the agency anymore.
Right.
Yes. And so what had happened was I had this like random, you can call it now, random memory that that church that I went to as a kid had like a refugee program. And I was like, oh, I'll sign up for that. And so I signed up for this thing called like World Impact. And it was so cool. So I found out months later that like that application form never went to like that department. But the young adults pastor got an email saying Vic wants to reach out to the church. Here's her number, call her. And so I get a call from this random lady and she's like, hey, I heard you want to come down to church. And I was like, yeah. And I'd like alluded to what was going on, but not really. And so on a Thursday, she invited me to come to church and just speak with her. So I rock up to church. And I remember sitting in my car and I remember like this overwhelming voice that was going, don't go in there. You're such a bad person. You'll burst into flames. Like you can't walk in there. You can't walk into that church.
Oh, chills.
And So I remember I'm sitting in my car and I'm wrestling with myself and I'm like, Vic, you're here, just go in.
Mm.
So I went into this church and I just started word vomiting to this poor girl for hours. Like, I don't know, like the OnlyFans of medicinal cannabis, refugees, like, help me. Like, what do I do? Like, and this beautiful, beautiful girl goes, I really think that you should come to church this weekend. I think you'll really resonate with the speaker. And so I come to church on a Sunday, and the lady speaking is talking about this over sexualized culture. And she's talking about how, like, this is destroying the next generation. She's talking about OnlyFans, and she's talking about how this will be the thing that resonates with me the most. And I didn't even understand it, but it wrecked me. She goes, Christians are supposed to be the salt and the light of this earth, and they have failed.
Oof.
And I'm like, oh my, I'm getting wrecked. And so after she finished speaking, I'm like in the balcony at the back. I literally ran down to her and I went up to her and I said, Hi, my name is Victoria. I work for an OnlyFans agency and I hate myself.
Mm.
And the lady was Melinda Tankard Reese.
Mm.
And I know. And she was so beautiful. She didn't judge me. She didn't condemn me. She didn't go, You're a sinner. You're going to burn in hell. You need to repent. You need it. Like, she just goes, Let's have lunch. And so Melinda had lunch with me. And it was beautiful. And she just answered my questions. She didn't think they were dumb. I said, Isn't this like a safe injecting heroin room? Isn't this a positive? Isn't this women's liberation? Like, and she just took the time to literally answer my questions. And I've had people say, Well, did they share the gospel with you? Did they this? And I was like, No, they just treated me like a human, not a little pet project that they're trying to convert. Like,
Yeah.
and so they just had lunch with me and answered all my questions. And that was on a Sunday.
Mm.
And by the Friday, I'd quit the agency and I started to walk away from everything in my life.
Woo! Bloomin' heck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just completely walked away.
It was just this thing inside of me. So on that Tuesday is when I told the owner of the agency that I felt wrong. And then by the Friday is when I quit. And I did not have the words. I didn't have I couldn't understand it. But all I knew is I didn't understand what this Jesus thing was. I didn't understand what happened at church, but I just knew that I had to follow that. I didn't even know what it was, but I just knew that I had to. And so yeah.
Yeah. And now look at you, girl. Oh, okay. What is your message to teen girls who are navigating a world where being seen on social media often means being sexualized? And how can they guard themselves against these influences?
I think that that's the big thing in understanding a lot of this is fake. A lot of girls that I talk to do think all of this is real. And just to be brutally honest, a lot of these girls are paid to go overseas and they do have to have sex with the people that pay for their holidays. Like they're literally getting escorted out. A lot of the girls that you see that go to Dubai and go to America are literally getting paid by very rich men for them to go over there and they have to have sex with them. Like this is so common and so normal. And so that's just something that you need to understand that a lot of these women are literally pimping themselves out to have these trips. A lot of them are in debt. A lot of them are drug addicts. They're alcoholics. They're depressed. They're anxious. It's all fake.
And can we also just highlight the fact that these men don't all treat them like queens?
No, like not at all. They're objects. Like you literally, I remember we went out one night. We had there was a famous American that came here and we went out with him because one of the girls from the agency was invited to like spend the night with him, like just partying and clubbing. And I remember sitting there in this booth and you've got all this paparazzi and all, and you just have to, do you know how awkward it is? And you just have to sit there and be this little object and like just look cute. And like these people don't care about you. They're not interested in you. All they care about is how hot you are. And like, I don't care what anyone says. Imagine if you're like, Vic, I want you to come on a podcast. I just want you to sit there and look cute. Don't say anything, but just sit there and look pretty. Like it's dehumanizing and it sucks and it doesn't feel nice. Yeah. And this is a reality that we have to speak about because this is the value that these girls put on themselves. And so I understand that we all want to be liked and loved. I understand that we all want boys' attention and all of these things. And I get it. But I promise you that you do not get it by sexualizing yourself because it does the opposite of what you think it will do. You think that if you post that sexy picture, if you sleep with that guy, if you do anything with that guy that's more than kissing, that he will like you. But it actually does the opposite of that. It literally does something in their brain to literally start to decide that they don't respect you.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're devaluing yourself, you're dehumanizing yourself, and you're literally destroying your worth because you think that I have to be hot for someone to like me.
Yeah.
But it's just not the case. Like even in secular relationships, I was having this conversation the other day. There's an innate understanding that when you add sex and all these things into it, it actually tarnishes the relationship. I was literally having a conversation the other day, and someone in my world goes, yeah, I remember when I met him, I just didn't want to have sex with him straight away because I knew that I wanted him to like take me serious. So we know this on an innate intrinsic level. And so my advice to young girls is you can still want to do your hair, do your makeup, do your nails, dress up, like present yourself well, have fun. Being a girl is the best thing ever. But that doesn't mean that I then have to go and get my phone and then take like, or whatever. Like I don't have to do those things. You can still be beautiful. You can still present well, but
Yes.
I don't have to take it to that next level of sexualizing myself. And I
Yes.
promise you, any girl that's listening, I promise you, you will not regret that. You're not going to look back when you're like 30 and married and have a healthy relationship with your husband and maybe some beautiful children and go, oh my gosh, I wish I had more sex and sent more nudes when I was in high school.
Yeah. Come on.
Like you're never going to do that.
Yeah.
So that would just be my very honest and very brutal advice for young girls listening.
How can they guard themselves against these influences on social media?
So now that we understand that, and now that we know that we are being softly manipulated, the gravity of what's happening, the reality of it as well, that if I do sexualize myself, this is what probably will happen to me in my life.
Yeah.
Now you can identify these things. So next time you're on TikTok, you can see that next OnlyFans girl scroll, and now you can look at it through a different lens. Instead of consuming it, you can now observe it and go, oh, I actually see what's going on here. I'm not going to get absorbed by this. I'm actually going to scroll by. So now you have the tools and the eyes to see that. And then from there, what I always encourage girls is this word called countercultural. What does that mean? Well, being countercultural is as simple as if a boy asks you for a naked picture, no is a complete sentence. Like just say no, block them, delete them. If a boy is asking for that, it actually probably means he doesn't like you. Yeah. And so if you put that boundary in, he will probably respect you more, to be honest with you, because he thinks he can get away with it. And so it's just these small things that we can do to understand that, hey, my value and my worth actually isn't in how pretty I am, how cute I am, and start to champion that not only in yourself and start to think about, well, what qualities do I have that isn't how pretty I am that are good? Maybe you're a great friend. Maybe you're really, really smart. Maybe you're really generous. Maybe you have great family values already. And I even do this with some of the girls when I was going into schools by myself, is I would get groups of girls to get together and actually start to champion countercultural values in them. And they would come up to me and they would be like, it was year 8 girls, and they would be like, you know, my friend was just telling me how she sees that I'm so generous. My other friend was telling me how she thinks that I'm really sporty and I'm really athletic. So even get your girls together and start to call these different qualities out in each other. And you'll see how you'll bond more with your friends, which is a really big thing that we need to do as girls, stick together, champion each other. You'll bond more with your friends. You'll be able to call these things out in each other. And so then when you do inevitably get that text message from that boy, when you do feel influenced, screenshot it, send it to your girls in your girl group and be like, oh my gosh, James just asked me for a nude, and like get your friends to go, no, babe, you're this, you're that, you're this, don't do it. Like you're worth more than this. And so now you're being countercultural, you're shifting your culture and you're changing your environment, and you're starting to champion not only in you, but the people around you. And I promise you, you're going to feel so much better for it.
Come on. I love that so much.
Yeah.
What do you say to our teenage boys?
For teenage boys, I would say I totally understand how hard this is. And the reason I understand how hard it is because I was one of the people that was targeting you. Boys are now exposed to pornography on average like 8 years old. And it's because the younger that the porn industry can get you addicted, the more that you're a lifetime client. I've met men that have had such severe porn addictions that porn idolization has turned into them wanting to actually act out raping women. And so I can empathize with you on understanding how severe this is and porn is and the enticement of it. And so my encouragement is that if you are listening to this, if you have been exposed to porn, if you are watching it, if you are curious about it, is please tell someone that you trust.
Yeah.
I think that is the biggest and most important thing, and it is the greatest thing you'll ever do for your life, is to just tell someone, your mum, your dad, I don't know, your pastor, your teacher, your principal, maybe your friend's parent, whoever it is,
Yeah.
that you are struggling with this. And I just promise you that God's going to honor that, and he's going to put people around you and tools and resources to help that. And just know that it's not normal and it's not something that you should be doing. And the more you do it, the worse your relationships will be, your mental health will be. It will follow you into marriage. Marriage isn't going to fix it and make it stop. And the longer you watch it, the more sick and twisted the things are going to be that you're going to watch. It's going to desensitize you. And then you're not actually going to want to probably have a relationship anymore. And our boys listening, you are so much more valuable than that. It's going to change the way you perceive women and literally just destroy your mental health. And so I just think they're the realities that you have to understand. And we all want you to be great men. We want you to be influential men. We want you to be powerful men. We want you to be men that love the Lord and treat your wife amazing and have beautiful families. And so to do that, porn will destroy every element of that. And so I think that that's just my encouragement for boys is champion yourselves, know that you're born for greatness, and porn will destroy any hope you have of being great. So talk to someone about it, get honest with people, champion your friends as well.
Good.
And yeah, I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah, that's really good. And what's your message to parents, Victoria?
My message to parents is don't think this is not happening to your kid. Don't put your head in the sand and go, oh, well, that's not, we go to a Christian school and we're Christians. And mate, all the schools I go to are Christian schools. This is happening. This is real. You cannot deny it. And I think that it is a negligent thing to do in our day and age to not educate yourself on social media, to talk to your children about it. Because now, if they're curious about something, they will Google it and they will see things. And so isn't it better that they come to you? And here's the other thing I think for parents. So just because a child asks a question doesn't mean that's what they believe. So a child might ask you something about sex or any of this stuff, but maybe they've heard something. And so don't freak out and shut it down, because then you're attaching shame to that. Immediately you're attaching shame to it. So then they don't feel that they can talk about these things.
Right.
So I think that in those moments, it's just about being calm, educating yourself on what you can do, tools, resources that are out there, and also the biblical reasons as to why we wait for sex. I think that if we're talking to Christians, something I've really started to learn about is covenant theology and the covenant that is actually behind sex. Why do we change our names? Every single covenant has like a shedding of blood, the significance of all these things. So why are we actually waiting till marriage? What is the significance of that covenant? And then you, for your child, know them well enough that you can translate that to them.
Amen.
In an appropriate way. But also just one last thing is don't think that they're as innocent as what you think they are. So you might be like, oh, it's a bit much to talk to my year 8, year 9, like teenager about this. No, not really. Because again, if they have free reign of their phone, free reign of any type of social media, I promise you, they're looking up disgusting things. And it's just a matter of a fact, because if we were as teenagers and I went to a private Catholic school and social media wasn't even that bad back then, now it is going to be so much worse.
So much worse.
So I hope that that's not to discourage parents, but just to champion them, and also just to give a harsh reality of probably what's happening, and your due diligence to be able to educate them on the biblical reasons behind this, but also cultural context as to how they can navigate this.
Yes, come on. I feel like you're on a roll now. So what do you want to say to church leaders who are listening to this? Because I think sometimes our church leaders can feel quite ill-equipped to have these conversations.
Oh, this is like a sidebar. This is like a dream. I would love to be able to go in and help educate our church leaders on how to navigate this, because it is so important. Don't think that there's not a place for this in the church. Don't think that if we don't talk about sex, therefore we're doing our due diligence. We see time and time again in the Bible the consequences of sexual immorality. We see the consequences of if we're left to do anything that we want. One of the most horrific stories in the Bible is literally a woman getting gang raped and murdered and chopped up into little pieces. Now, why does that happen? It's because we don't talk about these things. This sexual immorality, when we leave it untouched, it means that it opens up the door for everything. And these things happen. And I literally know someone that was a pastor of a church, and he talks about this publicly, pastoring a church, and he's the one that got arrested for attempted rape because of his porn idolization. And so don't think that there's not a place for this in the church. We need to be speaking about this because we can see in the Bible how important it is. And if we leave it, what can happen, and it's not extreme, it's real. Because I've just given you an example of how this can happen. So again, I think that it's being open and honest with yourself, because we don't have authority over things that have dominion over us. So any pastor that is listening to this, you need to be brutally honest with yourself and say, hey, am I struggling with sexual immorality? Do I, even on a thought level, sexualize women? What am I doing? Or women, do I do that myself? Like, what is your sex life or sex health like behind the scenes?
Yeah.
And then if you feel like in your own church that you have a culture where you can't talk about this because there is shame, I'm sure that pastors have pastors' friends. Talk to people.
Yes.
If you can't in your own, get yourself healthier.
Yes.
And then I think the step from there would then be going, okay, how can I steward this? How can I talk to my young adult pastor about what are they doing? Our youth pastor. There are so many online resources with the Australian government. There's so many online resources with like Christian organizations that talk about this stuff.
Yes.
So I think get yourself healthy, get yourself in a place of authority that you can speak into these things. And then even if you have to, because your culture doesn't allow for it, start doing your own independent research so then you can then speak into these things.
Yes. Come on. Evil feeds in the hidden places.
Yeah.
So when the light is shone in those areas, that evil can no longer grow there and fester there.
Yeah.
But it is about bringing it out from under the rug, isn't it? Now, you recently attended the annual Coalition to End Sexual Exploitation Global Summit in Washington, D.C. What are some of the key takeaways that you would like policymakers and government leaders around the world to understand about the intersection of emerging technology and sexual exploitation?
Oh, your questions have been some of my favorite questions. They are just phenomenal. Oh my gosh, what a good question. That's a really high energy response for such a heavy question, isn't it?
I just love your passion for this, girl. Seriously.
Okay, so a story that I want to say to policymakers that very recently happened. I reconnected with a girl that was working at the OnlyFans agency I was at. I actually trained her how to be an account manager, and she had her own OnlyFans page. She has now left the industry and has her own business and is very successful in it. Honestly, praise God, because that is just favor from the Lord, that what has happened with this beautiful girl in less than 12 months. But what has now happened is someone has her porn and is sending it to all of her new clients that she has in this new business that is a total separate business from what she was obviously doing. She's out of the porn industry now, but it is still following her.
Yeah.
And this horrible human is literally sending her porn to her clients. Now, I said to her, babe, you need to go to the police. And she said, well, can the police actually do anything? And then I thought about it and I thought, I actually don't know. And so I asked a friend, what can we do about this? And I realized that there's no policies to really protect, I don't think, women that this is happening to. I think that we demonize the women, we scrutinize the women, but we need policies in place to protect them because a lot of them are deceived into doing this type of work. As well, I said at the Global Summit, we would send recruitment messages to girls on social media. There is no difference between me sending a recruitment message to a girl saying, hey, babe, I love your vibe. Have you ever thought about doing porn? Or me standing on a street corner going up to girls and saying, hey, I love your vibe. Have you ever thought about doing porn? And then bringing them back to like a studio to do. There is no difference. So why would I get arrested for doing that on the street and coercing people into doing porn, which is the US definition of human trafficking? So if it applies in that perspective, why doesn't this apply digitally? Okay. There should be ramifications for this. Yes. Should be protection that if a girl comes in and says, hey, I just got this message, there is something that is done about that. I've now heard that recruiters are going to influencer parties trying to recruit girls to do OnlyFans, all of this stuff. This is pimping. And these literally, it's a form of human trafficking. So I think that it needs to be taken serious. It needs to be understood and acknowledged as a problem. On a bigger level, like social media and like OnlyFans needs to be held accountable to some capacity. I don't know how, but I just think that we can be letting all of this sexualized content on social media. OnlyFans has no ramifications for what they're doing, what they're promoting, what they're allowing. They say that they have policies in place around like specific things, but realistically they don't. And also there needs to, I think, be mass education on this will be on the internet forever.
Yeah.
And I know that we can like try and put things in place to get this stuff taken down, but I think that needs to be emphasized. And what happened to this poor girl can happen and is probably happening to a lot of people. So I think just education, and then if we can try and get support for these girls, and then also take it serious, how predatory the recruitment element is of online porn.
Come on. You are a gun, my girl. I'm so thankful for you. I'm so grateful for you coming on to Under the Rug to share just your experiences and to really educate our listeners and activate them as well, because we all have a responsibility here. All of us do. Talk to us a little bit about your business now. Like, what are you doing now aside from all your advocacy work, which is phenomenal? What are you doing in terms of business? What are you offering?
Thank you. I guess like we've been speaking so much about social media, influencers, all of that. So one of the biggest things that I do now and that I love is literally I felt such a call when I was in America meeting all these wonderful people with these crazy stories, and they're doing such beautiful work. But they don't know how to show up online. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to spread this message. And as we know, social media is such a critical part of actually building community, getting our message out there, for opportunities, for finances, all of these different things. And so I really just felt a burning passion to help people to show up online. How do you do that? Because in turn, we're bringing countercultural messages to social media. We're able to take ground for the kingdom. Like the amount of people I've heard that they've watched a video of a sermon and then that made them go to church and now they're saved. So it's like, if we can bring more of this, we can equip people that maybe are missionaries, non-for-profits, whatever, to build community, help resource them, bring these messages more to light. And then just, see social media really be redefined as a place where you can come on, you can feel value, you can feel worth, and you can feel inspired.
Oh, I love that.
So that's what I do now. So I do social media strategy sessions with people. I do consultancy work with them to be able to help bring their unique messages to social media.
Okay, so anybody listening to this who needs that, we're going to make sure we include all of Victoria's links, okay, so that you can reach out to her. Victoria, thank you so much for just coming on and sharing your story and shining a light on the critical issues, facing our young people in society. Your journey certainly reminds us of the power of Jesus's redemptive love and the importance of taking a stand for what is right, even when it's hard. And as confronting as your journey has been, I give God all the glory for allowing you to experience what you did, because it's made you who you are today. And I want to thank you for being a voice, for bridging the gap, for shining a light straight into the darkness, because as the evil is exposed, lives are protected, rescued, and set free. But I also want to thank you for showing us what it means to be unashamed of the gospel of Christ in this day. While preparing for our time today, Holy Spirit led me to a hair-raising scripture found in Luke 9, verse 26. If anyone is ashamed of me and my message, the Son of Man will be ashamed of that person when he returns in his glory and in the glory of the Father and the holy angels. We cannot afford to be undercover followers of Jesus. Jesus is raising up a mighty army in this day, and it is filled with those who are unashamed of him. So Victoria, thank you for being unashamed of your Jesus, and thank you for joining us today. To my listeners, I hope you are not only informed, but also inspired to take action in your own lives, to be safe spaces for our young people, to be proactive in guiding the next generation, and to bring your voices to the conversation about a safer digital world. I just want to close with a word of encouragement through a scripture that speaks to the heart of today's call to action. Romans 12 verse 2. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. This verse calls us to rise above the norms of society, to go against the grain and to stand in truth. May we all be emboldened to renew our minds and our spirits daily so that together we can create a safer, brighter future for the generations to come.
Thank you for listening to the Under the Rug podcast with Nalini Tranquim. To learn more about Nalini's online coaching programs, to book Nalini for your upcoming events, or for more information, please visit nalinitranquim.com/contact or email us at info@nalinitranquim.com.